Welcome to today's video, and today I've picked myself up a slightly damaged Nintendo Switch Lite from eBay. So as you can see, someone's decided to try and detach the Joycon on the side. I don't know whether they actually thought it was possible or they just had a little bit of a temper. But either way, I've got a Switch Lite which is in two parts. No bonus game, no bonus card, which is a bit of a shame. So as you can see, it only cost £29, so a little bit of a bargain. But we'll see whether we got an actual bargain or not. So this is all the bits that were sent. So we got very damaged back. As you can see on the daughter board, it doesn't look in too bad a shape. We've got a bit of damage onto the shoulder button, so we won't be able to reuse that one. The wires coming out of the screen and the side look intact though, so we could possibly give it a test. But I've just noticed that it's missing a clip off the daughter board, so we won't be able to use this daughter board as the backlight connection is missing. As you can see, they ripped a couple of traces. It will be repairable, but I don't think I'm going to bother because I've got lots of spares here. So the first aim is I'm just going to plug a daughter board in. So we'll put the backlight connection, power connection, and the main ribbon cable that connects to the main board. We'll flip it over, we'll press the power button, and we've got a smash screen. This is a little disappointing, as in the description it says the screen looks okay, but to be fair, it's hard to tell when it's turned off. So I do happen to have another spare old case that I can use if we can get this working, so we won't have to go out and buy anything new. So we just need to get into this one. So we'll get our iFixit kit out, we'll take the 2 screws off the back, and then the 4 screws off the side. Then we'll carefully prise it away. It's slightly broken at the bottom as well, but internally it looks pretty clean. We'll take the daughter board off, we'll take the couple of screws out to remove this rear heat shield. And first impressions, visually the Switch looks in amazing condition. The motherboard is nice and shiny, it's never been opened before, so there's a possibility we might get something out of this. So we disconnect the battery, need to get the motherboard out to start with. So the heat pipe comes out, the shoulder buttons come off, the game cart, remove all the screws to remove that. Then disconnect all the ribbon cables, all the screws in the motherboard. I always forget about this cable here attached to the fan. And then we'll just carefully peel the motherboard out so we can have a closer look at it. Slightly stuck in the corner, but it comes out okay. Have a look at the back, it all looks okay. And if we have a look on an angle, I can't see any bends, so I'm quite hopeful that this motherboard might actually work. So this is a known working housing, so I'm going to pop this in to give it a go to see whether we can get it to fire up. So I'll just attach the minimum amount that I need to do. We'll press the power button. We should have a little bit of battery in there. And we get the Nintendo logo to start with, which is good. And then we get the Nintendo Switch logo, which is good. And then it starts up. Lots of games on there, so it looks like it may have been a child's console. We'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say maybe it got run over, and that's how the Joycon got disattached. So I've also got this old grey shell, which has got a working screen in it. So the plan is to take the working screen out of that and to pop into my yellow set. I've given it a clean up now and it doesn't look too bad. So we'll see if we can recover anything out of this side housing. So we'll just take out a couple of the screws. So some of the bits we should be able to reuse, like the shoulder button. But as you open up, you can see the Joy-Cons completely destroyed. All the screws are still attached, but not to the actual board itself. So that's the old one. So now I've already swapped over the screen into my new housing. I've got full videos on how to do full shell swaps, so if you need to watch one of them, I'll leave the link in the description. So we'll pop our new daughter board back in, the one which doesn't have any damage to it. Just make sure we don't have anything trapped. Line it up as best you can. I'm going to take out all the screws out of the old one. That way I know I'm putting the right screws in the right place. The Switch Lite loves to have lots of different size screws. I've got a slight little bit of damage on this shoulder button holder here. So I'm just going to use my pliers, bend it out a little bit. And then we'll lay that into place. And then pop the 2 screws in. The shoulder button that it came with is actually damaged. But luckily I've got a couple of spares. So I've got one in scrubbed up okay. And then they just simply clip into place. And now we'll take out all the buttons from the old Switch and then pop them into our new housing. The Joycon as well. Hopefully there's no stick drift on that. And then we'll place the motherboard in very carefully. Don't trap any of the ribbon cables. And then pop all your screws in. Connect all the ribbon cables up. Shoulder button goes in. Couple of screws on that. And the game card reader goes in as well. I'm not going to put all the screws into that just yet. I'm just going to give it a quick test. So put all the screws into the motherboard, which is more than I normally do. I reattach the battery. We push this ribbon cable in very carefully. And then we'll go for a test to make sure that we're still working before we fully put it back together. I did forget to put the power button in, so I should have done this really before plugging the battery in. So make sure you do this before you attach the battery. You could possibly blow something. And then we'll press the power button. Flip over, we get the Nintendo logo, which is still good, but the battery runs out. I'm going to have to leave it on charge for as long as I can, so we can get a full charge into it. So we'll come back to it an hour later. We turn it back on. We get the Nintendo Switch logo. And now we start up. So here's our Nintendo Switch Lite, which now seems to be fully working. So I'll give it a little bit of a mess. All the touchscreens seems to be working fine, but then it starts to freeze. So I've turned it on and off a couple of times, and now it's doing this on a regular basis. And then after a couple of minutes, it stays frozen, and if you leave it and don't do anything else to it, you get the orange screen of death, which is never good. So this is normally linked to the Wi-Fi chip. So we'll get the board back out and we'll pop it under the microscope. And this is the Wi-Fi chip next to the USB-C port and battery connector. So this square block either needs reflowing or replacing. So the easy option is always to go for a reflow to begin with. So I'm just going to get it into a bit of a better position. I've put capped on tape over the plastic bits at the top so they don't melt. And then I'm going to come with a little bit of flux, not too much, we don't want to swamp it. Just spread it out along the edge. And then I come in with 320 degrees C with 60% airflow. And you just need to keep moving it around. Just keep going back and forward, left and right. You want to try and get the heat across all of the chip itself, so all of the pads will begin to melt. You have to be really careful here, because there's so many caps around it. It's so easy to make a mess, which I have done when I first started doing repairs. But just keep coming in very carefully. Rest your hand as best you can, and you just want to try and give it a little nudge. We want to keep nudging it to see if it's got any movement. If it moves, it means the solder balls are all melted, and that will be classed as a reflow. So a little nudge there, that's all good. And then I decide to carry on, as that's what I tend to do. And then I'll nudge it at the other end, and it's still moving, which is good. And then as I move back, I knock some of the caps. I'm very, very lucky here that I can very, very slightly nudge them back into place, and it's not anything major. Remove the heat and move away. That could have been a lot worse. So I'll leave it to cool down. We'll come with some isopropyl and then give it a good clean. We want to get rid of as much of the flux as possible. So keep giving it a once over, and then I come with some canned air just to spray at an angle to try and force out any of the old flux from underneath it so we can get it all nice and cleaned. So time to test again. So we pop it back into the housing again. We press the power button, we turn it on, we get the Nintendo logo, which is good. We get the Nintendo Switch logo, which is good. It starts up relatively quick, which is always a good sign. And now we'll have a little mess with the touchscreen. So the touchscreen seems to be still working fine, which is what we need. So it doesn't need a system update. Now the big test is if we go into settings, we'll find the internet. So we'll go into the settings and then we're going to find the internet and an internet settings. If it detects the internet, that's going to be a good sign. And as you can see, it is detecting internet. So I'll connect it to my Wi-Fi, pop my password in, click on connect. It could still fail here, but thankfully it hasn't. It connected. So hopefully we may now have a working Nintendo Switch Lite. Then I got a massive bonus to say that the person that previously owned it, which had parental controls on, they've unconnected it, and now I don't need to go through the rigmarole of removing the parental controls. It's all now good to go. Touchscreen's still working, nothing laggy, so I'll leave it for an hour. I come back, it's still on, it's still working, it's still connected to the internet, so I'm pretty sure that there's no more further issues and we won't get any more orange screens. So the heat shield that it came with was still twisted. I was going to replace it for another one, but I thought it only needs a slight little bending back into place, so I bent it as best as I can. Popped it back into place. As you can see, it's okay along the top. Slightly sticking out to the bottom, but nothing major. It wasn't totally damaged, so it was good to use. So looking back, that was the case that come off. And now this is a nice shiny used case to go back on. The only thing I'm missing are buttons, so I'll just remove the buttons from the old case and then pop these into our new replacement case. These simply click in, very simple to do. And then the best way to attach these back up is to attach them at the top, hook it over the top, and then just click it around the edges. So we just press the buttons, make sure they still feel like they press OK, which they do. I'll turn it back on again, make sure I'm still working before I put all my final screws back in. Volume and everything works fine, touchscreen's all good. We'll check all the buttons, which it didn't do before. They're all good too. And now we'll go round, 4 screws in the side, 4 screws in the back, and before you know it, we're all done. So we're missing the serial number off the old one, unfortunately, but I might as well take this one off because it's not going to be the same one. So this is what we come from. This was the old damaged Switch Lite that we bought for a bargain, £29. And now this is our fully working, almost as good as new Nintendo Switch Lite. Touchscreen all works perfect. The back of it, considering it's come from a donor, is in really good condition. All the catches open fine and close fine. This is our yellow Switch Lite, so it shows that it's in the right housing. We've still got the internet and we're all good. So considering what we come from, a Nintendo Switch Lite in 2 pieces, we've come back to a fully working Nintendo Switch Lite, which is good to go for several more years. Hopefully it gets in the hands of someone that's going to look after it better. But it was an interesting repair. I'm glad I managed to fix it in the end. Hopefully you found the video enjoyable. Thanks very much for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe.